General Shergill is the founder chairman of Military Literature Festival Association, Chandigarh. General Shergill.
General Katyar, we are fortunate to have with us General Malik, who was my chief when I was the corps commander, and a welcome to all the ladies, gentlemen, the children. I'm particularly happy to see a large number of children who are here. We are fortunate that one of our prime organizations that help us run this festival, Headquarters Western Command, General Katyar is present, and actually he saved us a great deal of embarrassment because the politicals who were supposed to be here have gone for a higher political purpose to the district of Gurdaspur. This festival is a little smaller than what we had in years past, and in between we had two festivals that were online because of the pandemic. But we went ahead with them. Not that we didn't have our casualties, because when you carry out something in-house in an hotel, you're bound to be close together. And I think there were about 4 or 5 of us, including me, who got COVID. So we did our service even then. The purpose, or you could say the theme of this festival is the world in turmoil. And it is so. With all that you see happening around the world, and all under a nuclear umbrella. One gets the impression that if there's a nuclear umbrella, you can get away with doing anything. And we have many wars that have taken place since the first explosions of the atomic bombs in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And now we are witnessing, after many years of peace and prosperity, we are seeing it happen again, close to us and far away from us. The fighting in Ukraine has been going on for a number of years, and there was a precursor, a small one, between Azerbaijan and Armenia, which showed us a new type of involvement of drones, and now you see that in all its might in the fighting that's going on in Ukraine. Of course, everybody is deriving lessons from that conflict and what can happen in our area of operations, whether it is in the plains, on the seas, or in the mountains. Our neighbor, Pakistan, we are ethnically joined together by language, but we are divided by religion. And it so happens that they too, due to a very poor economic machine and being led by what you could say a feudal clan of the armed forces, is experiencing great difficulty. And there's an instability because on the northwest is the Taliban. And any instability in Pakistan, although through Schadenfreude we might rejoice, but the fact is, it's not good for us. China started its modernizations in 1995, and one of the big points of the modernizations was in the sphere of their agriculture, so that they could feed their millions. You will recall that only 9% of China's land surface is arable. And even today, they import huge amounts of food, in particular soybeans and so on and so forth. And also in 1995, they went in for the modernization of their armed forces. They've already taken out nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, and so you can see how far they have reached. We are also carrying out a modernization, hoping that we can do most of it within ourselves, but it is to be seen what is the backlog, how far are we behind, how long will it take us to be on our own feet so that we can decide our own strategies, our own defense security. On the ground today, in our hilly regions and maybe also in the northeast when it so happens, we have our great battalions, and within the battalions are Ghataks, our special forces that are operating. And just for the information of all of you, since 2017, Punjab has had 121 of our youths killed in action in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Those of you who do not know, 120 is the strength of an infantry company. So that is the price, that is the blood price that India pays for stability on your borders, and that is the blood price of Punjab. I must add, because at one stage I was attending their obsequies, all of them are from villages. They are not from towns, they are from villages. We've recently had another, you could say, a small war, an asymmetrical war between Hamas and Israel. There was a very savage exit across the Iron Wall by Hamas, and in a bloodthirsty manner, they killed man, woman, child, and even dogs. Retribution was instant in the shape of the Air Force, and subsequently it continued through ground operations, shelling, and also drones activity. Also shelling from the seaboard. That's still continuing. There's a truce. So we need to look into this and see how their means or what they possess can affect us. Do remember it's asymmetric, although, as normally happens, those who are under pressure tend to go underground. You have this large city in Cappadocia, in Turkey, which could house 20,000 people and lived as a city underground. You have the caves in Iwo Jima, where the Japanese fought against the Marines. And then you have the Viet Cong and their tunnels in the long war in Vietnam. We are also looking into an interesting historical part of what history can do in the future, because China had an emperor, although he ruled for just about 11 years, Qin Shi Huang, who is also known as Ying Zan, and this was about, he was ruling between 221 and 210 BC. In that short reign, he did a number of things ruthlessly. Qin was then one of the smallest states within what you could call China, but he aggressively created China and was the first, you could say, real emperor. To his credit, he was aggressive, but at the same time, much before the Indian civil service, in that time he established what you can call the Chinese civil service, and that has gone on till this day. Standardized the language and the script of 3,000 characters, and he was aggressive to the extreme and extremely liked by the leaders of China, and was a hero for Mao Zedong. we're also looking at the largest, as it were, of the Lahore Darbar of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, in a way, handing over the northwest frontier, Kashmir, Baltistan, Ladakh to India. Of course, it came through in a circuitous manner because Kashmir was bought by Maharaja Gulab Singh, and thereafter, after independence, the whole of Kashmir came to us. There's perhaps a misunderstanding. It is felt that it is the Dogra rule that got you Ladakh. That is incorrect. Because the Sikh Empire took Kashmir in 1819, and thereafter there were about 12 governors who were there. The Dogra general, Zorawar Singh, was a general of the Sikh Empire, and his activities in Baltistan and towards Tibet were part of the strategy of the Sikh Empire. And as you well know, in 1843 he lost his life against the Tibetans, but the Lahore Darbar forces reinforced the area and with a different general defeated the Tibetans in 1844, and that is how he got Ladakh and Aksai Chin. Unfortunately, Aksai Chin is still in possession of China. I have actually a point against modern historians. They always refer to that area as China. They never refer to that area as Tibet, and they've stopped referring to Aksai Chin as being part of India. We are quibbling about small little changes that have taken place in the line of actual control between fingers, whereas extensive area of our rule of Ladakh is still with China. Finally, this is also the 75th year of the first operations that were conducted by the Indian Army in 47-48 in Jammu and Kashmir. These operations, as you know, were in two different areas. It was the Jammu sector, where you had the capture of Mundiala Ridge and going on with the Cheetah Force beyond that up to the line of control, up to the ceasefire line, which was ceasefire line, but they had gone right up to the border between Jammu and Kashmir and Pakistan. And then you had Naushera, you had Jhangarh, you had Rajouri, and the famous and rather strong defense of Poonch against a siege. In the northern areas in Kashmir, you had the fly-in of our troops, the great fight that was given by first Sikh in the beginning, the Battle of Shalatang, and subsequently across the pass into Tithwal, and then the operations that were towards Zojila, and before that the movement towards Odi Chakoti. And at Zojila, it was not a simple matter because it took a number of actions before the tanks that were introduced had got across and got into Gumri Basin, and thus the gateway to Ladakh was opened. 8 Gurkhas had 1 battalion that was moving along what is now a scenic and tourist route past Rohtang and going on to Leh, and they also arrived there, but not before the troops through Zojila had got to Leh. So that is what we are showing you giving to you in the panels. We have a distinguished lot of people who are well versed in the matters that we are going to discuss. And apart from this, there are 2 very important things that we do. One is the Samvad, where about 600 children every day will actually interact with our Gallantry Award winners, so that the Gallantry Award winners can tell them their experiences of battle. And we have a Clarion theatre. And in the theatre there are films, some of which we have made, and others that we have curated from different battalions, from different regiments, from the Army, Navy and Air Force, and which is actually a great haunt for the children, and they get into the theatre and don't want to come out. But I'm happy that we have organized that. And then of course there's the usual food stalls, a bit of a book fair, and some martial dances, etc. I'm so glad to have you here, and more than that, a great contributor to this festival, Headquarters Western Command, represented by the Army Commander General Katyar, who is an Ati Vishish Seva Medal, and who has great experience in the Northeast as well as in Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the festival.
Thank you, Chairman. Before we move ahead, ladies and gentlemen, we have some things to do. We have 3 things on our agenda. The first one is the release of the first day cover of the MLF, for which I request Colonel Akhil Kumar to kindly come up for the honors to be done by the Army Commander. May I request General Malik also to kindly come up on the stage for the release of the first day cover, sir. The MG sitting here also requested to come up, please. General KJ, sir.
Please.
Release of the first day cover of the Military Literature Festival. Thank you, sir.